What we're looking began being built in 1634, and guys, it's still standing. Huh? So we have to learn quite a bit from military and civil engineer of back olden days. Huh? They had no technology, just rudimentary tools, very simple materials of construction, and the things are still in place. We are in Old San Juan. Old San Juan, the whole city was constructed from the promontory rock, which is the base and the formation for the whole city, okay? Right here, when we go to the third level of the fort, we will be at 147 feet above ocean level, okay? And this was the last fortification that the Spaniards did build in the Western Hemisphere, and it just so happens that it's the biggest of them all. So you might think that other forts that you have visited might be bigger than this one, but it's actually the biggest. It comprises 22 acres,
Wow.
and it took 149 years into the making. It is run by the Department of Interior on behalf of National Park Service System. So it's actually one of the 409 national parks right now that are within the 50 states of the United States or the U.S. territories like we are, like the Guam, the Mauritius Islands, and so on, okay? So we are walking the sidewalk all the way up to prove that the city is a hilly one, okay? And actually this is the only hill that we're taking in the tour today, which is good for you. And as I go in, I will register us all and then we proceed, okay?
We will take what we can get.
那现在我们来到这个历史在墙里哈，这个我们参加了这个项目啊，那这个墙呢让我想起了这个中国的这个长城哈，但是每一个墙似乎都有战争有关，那我们就来听听看这个导游是怎么说的哈，可能大家不太懂英语没有关系，就当是练习听力好了哈，跟我一起来。
On your next visit, if you want to, then you don't go to that side and you start walking towards this area.
Oh.
On the other end, we will see wrought iron gates that are really low, like 4 feet. That is as high as those tunnels are. So you have to go and walk that in. So we're not going through them today either, okay? And they were able to go through those tunnels into the extreme pointy edge of the fortification. That way, they could see the enemy approaching and see how prepared they had to be depending on which fleet was coming. The worst enemies for the Spaniards against Puerto Rico were the British and the Dutch. Puerto Rico just means rich port. We didn't have much gold. Whatever gold we had, whatever traces of silver were quickly taken and gone, but we have that bounty of fresh water. So when they were at sea, it's not like our cruise today. You have desalination plants on board. You have plenty of storage room to have all the fresh water that they can get in there, you know, so you will not be like suffering from anything. But back then, they rely on the strength of the wind. Depending on the time of the year, it took them from 2.5 to 3.5 months one way from Europe into the Americas.
Wow.
That is crazy. The vessels were really small, basically like our lifeboats. That's it. Only like 60 men could squeeze themselves in those vessels. So you can imagine that after 3 months, they were basically running on empty on everything. To drink water just from the ocean is too salty and you dehydrate. That is
Right.
no good. Okay?
Oh no.
No, so then what happens? They had to boil it a little bit and then try to take this excess particles of salt to be able to drink it. So when they got here and they had this amazing water from all those rivers, which back then was excellent because there was no contamination of planet Earth, there was no acid rain back then. This is something that we as humankind have harmed in the 20th and 21st century so far. So what happened? They were just like, with that resource, they were just more than blessed. And this is why we were under the Spanish crown for 405 years. This is how long they kept us, okay? So they were making the first stop across when they were coming across the Atlantic in our country. This, geographically speaking, it is an island, the first that they were hitting, and then they would be going west of us to DR, Dominican Republic and Haiti, composing Hispaniola, west of them, Cuba, then the Florida Panhandle, the Gulf of Mexico, what is now Baja California, Mexico, Central South America. And then they had to make the same journey before going back home. They would be stopping here and getting fresh water once more and food supplies, okay? So we're going in using the ramp, and from the ramp we will be walking throughout a tunnel that will enable us to get into the main square of the fortification. Come over. Watch your step. Like in Cartagena, Colombia, in Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Cuba, St. Augustine, Florida. The biggest of them all, the biggest that they made in the New World, okay, which is the Americas, okay? Thank you. Okay, we are at the entrance of the tunnel. We cannot see the light on the other end. You know why? Because they were savvy enough to create these tunnels, which was the last phase of construction within the fortification, in a zigzag. By having it in a zigzag, we cannot see the light. It's not that long, so don't feel too claustrophobic. I know we're hot, but we're stopping here so that our pupils do adjust to the semi-shade right here, the semi-darkness, and we don't fall off, okay? As we walk, we will be walking on the right-hand side because people might be coming from the other end, and we don't want to bump into them. But why did they do this? Because as you will see, as you're taking turns, your silhouette is overcasted on the wall, on the other wall. So they were able to glimpse at these shapes, and they were able to try to target at you and try to kill them before even seeing you face to face. If that wasn't enough, we will see indentations on the archways. Every segment or so, it's like 6 inches deep. They were packed with gunpowder. Then they had horseshoe-shaped cuttings of wood, and then they would be blasting that gunpowder and closing you in so that you couldn't proceed as the enemy, okay? Because if you went all the way across the tunnel, you would be in the main square. That meant you would have taken the fort from the Spaniards. That meant they had taken the city away. That meant they had taken the country away from them. And the Dutch did bastard it once.
Yeah, take a tour like this. 像这样的旅游呢，是需要懂历史哈，还要懂文化，就是这些建筑，最主要的是历史的故事。如果你要走出国门去看一些你从来没有到过的国家呢，最好是先查一些资料，然后呢了解那些风景点的故事你会发现看上去是冷冰冰的一堵墙，可是呢背后的故事却让你回味无穷。
They come over from escaping from the cold, in a Switzerland mode. It is beautiful. Those of you that are into photography, it just comes to be an astounding photo, okay? This was the light source and vent system within the tunnel, partially closed now for safety reasons, because that no one that is out there might be peeking and falling on us, okay?
Oh, that's a good idea.
就
像中国的长城，看上去是冷冰冰的一堵墙，可是这墙的背后许多的故事却让你回味无穷。
This is a dungeon that has been open to the public. Watch your step. It's
a we're going here.
Watch your heads. It's a low entryway. We all going in?
Oh my.
This is the jail.
这是关押犯人和俘虏的这个监狱哈 ，OK。在墙上呢画满了船。
It was that day that came to be your bailing out day, and then it was Atlantic Ocean in the north in front of the fortification as your burial site. So they would be just throwing you over. That's it, okay? So you know what? Usually all these prisoners were prisoners because they had committed treason to the crown. So this captain had sold some goods intended for the soldiers in the New World to put extra money in his pocket. This was known. This was considered treason. For this reason alone, he got to spend the rest of his days in here. Okay?
Oh.
The guards felt very sorry for him, so they did give him a torch so that he wouldn't go crazy. So from the debris of the torch, as it was burning out, he got to scrape the blackish to get the outline of these vessels that were done by him. Curators, historians, artists have been able to decipher that, yes, through the carbon 14, they were indeed in the time that he was in here. From the scratching of the wall, he got the beige and umber brownish tones to make the vessel. For me, the best one is this one right here. It has so much detail. Plus, only a high-rank officer was able to know all the detailing in these vessels, okay? They have been put under plexiglass so that humidity and people don't scribble over them.
Sure.
Because this is very historical, very important.
Oh
okay?
yeah, oh yes.
So why solitary confinement in such a big supposed cell? Because you didn't have no one to talk to. You would go mad. And this was the real punishment.
Yeah.
You know what's even worse? That it was used in the 20th century by the United States of America.
Oh.
Because there were troops stationed here during the First World War, the Second World War, and the Korean conflict up to 1959, okay? It was then that National Park takes over and opens it to the public. Imagine your cabin on board. Does it look like this? It might be even smaller, but so much better. No beds, no bathroom, the corner to go potty. So it came to be that eventually they were walking on their human waste, okay? Bread and water, once a day, as I mentioned, that crevice in the back was their only light source and air source. So let's not complain so much about the beautiful
Oh
things we
yes.
have, right?
Oh yes.
Right?
Oh,
And
yes.
you know what? This is the coolest spot within the fortification. And they devised this on purpose. And we think we're so savvy going to Lowe's or Home Depot and buying a new fridge, you know, that has all these computer thing now that it's the temperature and all that. They figured out that the coolest temperature around was like 8 inches above ocean level. Remember, the city was built on a promontory rock from the ocean.
Right.
So they brought that breeze, that temp, all the way up to here. So this wall here is like hollow, and they were able to bring that so the heat will circulate and come out. Why? Because this was a pantry that was the gunpowder room. So the gunpowder, if it becomes humid, it becomes cakey and it doesn't blast. So they needed to keep it cool. And the pantry, because those vessels made a 3-month journey before they were getting used in food items, okay? So this is why it's the coolest temperature. And once more, it wasn't until the 1930s that we had the first refrigerators as we know them, with a cylinder block that I did see at one of my father's auntie places when I was growing up. I can tell you basically how old I am, you know? So